I am Nile Colson. I do track and field, I do indoor and outdoor track at the University of New Haven in Connecticut, and I am a sprinter and a long jumper.
What are you majoring in?
I am a business administration major.
Perfect. What sprints do you do?
I do 4, 2, and 1. I'm a 400-meter runner, even though I hate to say it, but I am a 400-meter runner. I like the 200 the most.
Why is the 200 meter your favorite?
It's just the most fun. It's like the perfect pace for me because it's one of those races where you get to a top speed, but you don't get to a top speed and like shut it down immediately, especially if you like accelerate slowly. It's one of those races where you speed up, you get to your top speed, and then you just hold it as long as you can. And I feel like I can hold it for a longer period of time, and it makes it more fun for me because when I hold on to it, it's a lot better than me just getting to the top speed and just stopping immediately in the 100.
Tell me a little about your journey from high school track and field to college track and field.
I guess from high school track and field to college track and field, it was a rough transition because my senior year of high school was when we had like the whole COVID pandemic and we had to like stop going to school and everything switched to like virtually and all that. So I finished my indoor season of high school and I did like really well. And like my last meet of the indoor season of high school, I did like really bad compared to the rest of the season. So I was like, oh my gosh, I did really bad. Now I have outdoor season to like do everything really well and get better at it. But as soon as I thought that, everything shut down and it was just like we had to go our separate ways for school and school was just online. We didn't practice anymore. And I didn't know, like I knew where I wanted to go to school, but I was like, do I want to do track when I go to school? And I was like, yeah, I do want to do track when I go to school now. Because now I feel like I have to do something because I have to do better now. So when I got to school in the fall for college, it was kind of rough. So the workouts were like very different. It was a lot harder. It was a lot more pacing myself instead of just like running and running and running and running like all out over and over with like a certain amount of breaks. It's more like pacing myself, doing a certain distance within a certain amount of time, hitting a certain set recovery time, and going again multiple times. And that was a rough transition for me for my first year. And my second year is like I just started to get it down. And my times started to get better because I feel like my freshman year my times were like really bad. It was nowhere near where I was when I was in high school at the time. So it was just adjusting to that and getting through that mental barrier. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so like stressed out. Like I feel like I got worse and all this other stuff. I talked to my coach about it and she was like, you're fine. It goes through that. Like, people go through that their first year and it gets better as time goes on. So my sophomore year, I got those times again that I was running in high school and I was kind of happy about it. And the workouts were a lot easier for me because now I got used to the pacing, or I was more used to the pacing. Sometimes I still mess up the pacing in practice sometimes. But then after this year, it's my junior year, and I got all the pacings down. I knew the paces off the top of my head. I knew the exact speed for the paces when coach said them. And my workouts were really well. My meet times were really well. I was consistent in meets for the most part. So there's a lot of growth from my freshman year to now.
How do you think you could be more persistent in your sport?
Just by going for it whenever I get the chance to go for it and not like just holding back until the time is like, right, just going for it and seeing what I can do with what I have.
Have you ever had a moment where you competed and you thought about absolutely nothing and you just went with it?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
I guess that meet was basically indoor conference this past year. So I was like, all right, before for the next day too. So I did the 60 finals in the morning and the 4x4 at the end of the meet. And at the end of the meet, I was second leg and I got the baton. And the person that I got the baton from was in second and the person was ahead of me by a little bit. So I just kind of took off running. And I guess I ran that first lap and that 400 like really fast and just kept it going. And everybody was just like, how is he going that fast? And that first lap and he's still holding in the end for like most of it. And I guess that was the time where I kind of just went with it and saw how it went because there was something I could do besides catch the person ahead of me and just not lose the place from somebody behind me.
How'd you feel after that?
When I got it off, I feel like I was kind of like, I wouldn't say I had a lot of energy left. It was more like I had, like, I guess it was a hype moment. So when I walked up the track, I still like was able to walk around for a second until like I completely stopped and my body just gave out.
Okay, so you had a great adrenaline rush. So as an athlete, did you feel like there was less pressure when you just let go and went for it?
Um, yes and no. So I feel like there's the pressure of like, oh, I can't mess this up because it's a relay, and if I mess it up, everybody else messes up too. But also, as in like the pressure, as in like, yeah, I didn't feel the pressure when I was like, when I got the baton and started running, because I was kind of caring about what I was going to do in that situation, and I had to keep going for it instead of like everybody else being like, oh my gosh, what is he doing? It was more like, what am I going to do?
So let's talk about the 4x4, right? The 4x4 is one of the main attractions, right, at a track meet, right? So tell me how you feel about the 4x4. Tell me what your favorite leg is. Tell me a story about the 4x4, anything.
Um, as for 4x4, my first year of college, I was like, I don't know why the 4x4 is so hyped. I'd never seen it be that hype before, because in high school, it was never really that hyped to me at meets. When I got to college, I feel like I felt the same way my first year. I was like, I want to show that I can be on it. And so, like, my sophomore year, I started running it. But then there was this one meet where I completely like messed up because I was still not ready for that meet. And I ran really badly, and I thought I ran really bad. My coach was like, you did fine. It was just, you're just nervous because it's your first time on a big stage running a 4x4.
Hmm.
So I guess then skip ahead to this year, it's my junior year. I ran in it a lot, like every meet, and I did really well in it. My favorite leg is like second, or I want to go anchor. I guess a lot of people say anchor is a lot of pressure, but I like the pressure of like an anchor leg instead of like a first leg, because I think the anchor leg, like, get to hawk people down, and I like doing that in races. And it's just really fun for me to hawk people down in races. So I like the anchor like the most. You know, I haven't anchored yet in college. I was gonna anchor before I were at conference and outdoor championships this year, but then I got hurt the week before, so I couldn't run the relay at all. I could barely get through the meet, so it was kind of rough. So maybe I can do it this year, and that would be really exciting.
Sorry that you got injured. How's your injury going now? What's going on with you?
Um, yes, I hurt my hamstring. They said it was like a minor strain, but I heard it like just before championships, so it was really bad. So it was like really hard for me to get through practices, and like I was still trying to run in meets. And at conference, I like ran my open four, and I made finals in my open four. But me making finals that day still like hurt really bad. So we got to the next day, my body was just done, and I had to run 4x1 after that. And I tried to run it, and my body just gave out, so I couldn't get run the rest of the day. I had to jog the final for my 400 just to get my team to point, and then I couldn't run 4x4 at the end of the day because my body was just, it was over. And so I just shut it down for the season. At that point, we still had another championship meet after that, but I couldn't go to it because my body was just not with it.
Hmm.
So when I got home, I started doing physical therapy, and I've been doing that the whole summer. And now it's just starting to get better. I'm like feeling better. I can run now, and I'm ready to go into this year.
Okay. Mentally, how are you doing with the recovery process of the injury? How did that affect you?
Mentally, I guess once I stopped running in the season, it didn't really affect me that much mentally. I kind of was just like, oh, it's my time to take a break, because I usually take a break in the beginning of summer anyway. So
Hmm.
like, this is my time for my break. It's just time to recover and just go through the recovery process. And every time I go to physical therapy, I like always do my best there. I'm like, this doesn't help me recover when I go back. I need to recover when I go back. So I have to run. I have to lead everybody, and I have to just get better as quickly as I can with it being reasonable. So not rushing it at all. So mentally, I've been like, all right. It's kind of been like really, I mean, feel really happy to see myself recover, especially this week and last week, because I actually one was able to do a whole workout and not like fall over, like my leg just give out, and it's just a lot better. It's like not no more pain to my leg like that. It's just a lot better than what it was. That's good.
Awesome. So, if you had to give any advice to someone who was going through the recovery process of an injury, what would you tell them?
I'll just say healing, it just takes time, and you may not feel like you have all that time to like recover from it, but always take that time no matter what, because the more time you take to recover, the better you will be in the long run instead of just rushing back from it.
Tell me what keeps you going in college.
I guess it keeps me going. I guess my friends at school keep me going, and then just kind of track in general keeps me going because I have fun with it all the time. A lot of people in my school don't have fun with it anymore, But like I'm someone these people that still has fun with it. So when I have fun, it kind of keeps me going. Because then I want to go to practice every day. I don't really want to miss practice, especially when practice is early in the morning. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so early in the morning. I don't want to go. But then I'm like, I do want to go. I want to go to practice, get my breakfast after practice with my teammates, and just keep going about my day. So it's kind of like the highlight of my day somewhat. And then also getting good grades in my classes kind of keeps me going too, because then I feel like I'm not doing it for nothing. It's like having that constant improvement in my grades just kind of like really sets the mood too.
Describe a typical day in the life while you're in college during competition season.
Okay, so during competition season, so in the mornings when we have like regular practices and normal the class day for me, I get up around 7:30 a.m.
Mhm.
and I have to get ready for practice. So I get up, I usually get up before my alarm. I get up, I get ready to go. I usually go to my kitchen, I grab like a yogurt, something like yogurt or granola bar, and I eat it on the way to the bus stop to take the bus to practice. So I eat on the way to the bus stop, and I get on the bus, I watch a show while I'm on the bus right to the track. You know, it's like a 10-minute drive, so it's not like I get to do a whole show episode. But I'm watching a show, and I get to practice, and I go to my practice, and I talk to my coaches after my practice usually. Then I go back to my dorm, I change, I go get breakfast, and usually most of my team's there. Sometimes it depends on the day, but usually we all sit together and have breakfast together. We have like really random conversations. Then I go to class, and depending on what day it is of the week, determines how many classes I have, where I have to go for class, and all that other stuff. So depending on where I go for class, it basically just depends on if we're on the business campus, which is like a 10-minute drive away, or we're on the main campus. And being on the main campus, I usually go to class, and I go to my other class. I usually have 2 classes in a day. I go to both classes, and I go back to my dorm, and then I do some homework for a little bit, maybe take a nap. Then I get up, and I hang out with my friends for a little bit, then I play some video games for a little bit, and then it's dinner. I hang out with my friends at dinner time, and then we go back to my dorm. We all like hang out for a little bit for the rest of the day. But meet days, literally the night before the meet, I usually try to eat something really good or something that I really would like to eat. Then I pack my meat. I pack my meat bag the day before. So usually I throw my compression shorts in there. I throw, if it's outdoor track, I throw compression shorts in there. I throw my compression pants in there. I throw in a hoodie. I throw in my jersey. I have an arm sleeve. I throw in my arm sleeve. Then depending on the time, I throw in a book. I throw in my roller. I throw in my Nintendo Switch either that night or in the morning. Then I also throw in a blanket. And each of those things I throw in, it's like the book and Nintendo Switch is just to keep me entertained the whole time. Usually I don't use them all the time when I'm at meets, but it's like good for me to have them there, especially when I'm like really bored. I just have them. I also pack my phone charger just in case I need to charge my phone before I go. Oh, and I pack my spikes and my jump spikes. I forgot about those. Those are like 2 most important things. But I pack my spikes, and sometimes I pack a second book bag, depending on if it's an overnight meet or not. But usually I just pack my duffel bag of stuff. Oh, and then sometimes the day before I also go and buy snacks and throw them in my bag because then I get hungry at the meet. My favorite snack to have before competing in a meet is usually goldfish crackers, the rainbow goldfish crackers. I also like having the granola bars, chocolate chip granola bars, and I also like having applesauce pouches. Not regular applesauce, the Mott's applesauce pouches. Those are the things I eat. Even though our friends say I'm a baby for having those, I like having those applesauce pouches a lot. Then I also like having Cheez-Its. Cheez-Its are really good, especially before meets. I like having those before meets. But then my favorite like actual meal to have before meet, I like having like chicken and rice. I love having salmon or pasta. Those are like the things I like to have before meets. I love having those. I can eat those any day of the week though too, so it's not like I can have them just before meets. But if I could have them before meet every time, I would choose to have it before meet every time.
What's an athlete that you look up to or that you like watching? Who is an athlete? I'm sorry.
Um, I like for track. I like watching Noah Lyles and Sydney McLaughlin, and I really like watching them this year because I like watching Noah Lyles run his 200s and how he's like undefeated in his 200s right now, especially for this year and last year, and how he's he's the person that people think is gonna get close to the record now, or like break the record potentially. And I like how watching Sydney McLaughlin now, she like broke the record last year, and now she's moving down to the open four, and she's trying to do 400 hurdles double. She's trying to do both of those events. I want to see how she does with both of those.
Track and field. Have you done any other sports? Like, how did you land on track and field?
Okay. Well, I guess I've always wanted to do track when I was a kid. It was one of those sports where I was just like, oh, I want to run. I like racing people. It's one of those things that I really like doing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So for me going into elementary school and middle school when I was able to do track, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this sport no matter what. Basically, every other sport besides was like a secondary sport for me. But when I was younger, my parents had me try like a lot of sports. I tried like basketball, then we tried out baseball. I did football for a little bit when I got to middle school. But track was just always a sport for me. It was just something I would always like doing. And then once I got to middle school, I even joined a summer track team and track over the summer. So basically, I had to track almost year round. So it just kind of grew on me as time went on.
All right.
I'm Nile, and I live an unsponsored life.